Right. Let's start with the prayers. Om
Om
Shiva Samarambham
Shankaracharya
Shankaracharya
Madhyamam
Asmadacharya
Pratyam
Vande Guru
Guru
Paramparam Saraswati
Namastubhyam
Varade
Vayade Kamarupini
Vidyar
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Siddhir
Siddhirbhavati Sada
Om
Om
Sahanavavatu
Sahavatu
Sahanam
Sahanau Bhunaktu सह वीर्यं
Sahavirya
करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै
Om
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Vasudevendra
इन्द्रयोगेन्द्रं नत्वा ज्ञानप्रदं गुरुं
Mumukshu
नामहितार्थाय
Tattvabodha
बोधोऽभिधीयते
Om Namah Shivaya.
Shivaya.
So we had started karma last time. So we'll just have a quick revision and then some little discussion on what we saw last time. So we said every action, there are two portions, the visible portion of the action and the invisible portion of the action. And so consequently, there are two fruits or two results, the visible result and then the invisible result. The visible result is called drishta phalam. Drishta literally means visible. The invisible, which is the adrishta phalam, that which cannot be seen. And since results also can be of two types, it can be favorable or unfavorable, pleasurable or painful. So we have two kinds of adrishta phalam, that is called punyam and papam. Punyam is nothing but the seeds or the potential for future pleasure and pain. So, in other words, punyam converts to favorable experiences and papam converts to unfavorable experiences. So, this is the main idea about punyam and papam.
कल खाई नहीं दोनों परसेंट
So, this is the main idea about punyam and papam. Now, there are few things we must understand about these two, punyam and papam. So, first of all, we don't know when they will fructify. If you ask when does this punyam, manifest, become a pleasurable situation, that we don't know. It is beyond our knowledge. It is not something that we can easily predict or easily know. So this is taken care by Ishvara. This, assigning the punyam and papam based on the action, that is taken care by Ishvara. And when the situation is conducive for that punyam or papam to fructify, then it will happen. And another important thing to remember about these two, punyam and papam, is that they cannot cancel each other. Okay, so punyam cannot cancel papam. So just because there is an action that generates papam, if another action generates punyam, doesn't mean these two become, cancel and become zero. It's not like that. Both have to be experienced separately. The punyam might help to alleviate the situation or to handle the situation better, whereas the papam still has to be experienced. So, for example, if there is a papam that manifests in the form of a disease in the body, so health is affected, and that is not a pleasurable experience, it's a painful experience. So, we call it a manifestation of papam. So papam has come in the form of bad health. Now, punyam can come in the form of having resources to handle it. So you may have the knowledge to handle the bad health, or you may have the enough financial security that doctors and medicine become affordable. Any kind of resources, or maybe there are some contacts that you have who are doctors who might be willing to help you. So whatever that is all in the form of punyam. So just because punyam is there doesn't mean the disease will go away. Okay, punyam also has to be experienced separately. Papam also has to be experienced. So the disease will still come. If the papam is there, the disease will come. It is just that if there is sufficient punyam, then there will be an easier handling of the situation. There will be some tools to help you handle that situation. So that is the idea. Both have to be separately experienced. Now, it is also important to remember that these actions, this punyam and papam, they are not morality based actions. We are not calling them right or wrong actions, nor are we calling them good or bad actions. So, in many places, you will find punyam and papam being translated as good deeds and bad deeds. But that is not a very accurate understanding, because it is difficult to translate good and bad, right? It is difficult to define good. What is good for one person need not be good for another person. So, good and bad are kind of subjective. And so, we are not stepping into morality here. We are talking strictly based on pleasure and pain. The idea is that actions have consequences, and these consequences are either pleasant or unpleasant. And based on that, punyam and papam is defined. So it is not right or wrong. Usually in Vedanta, we will never call actions as good or bad, or even right or wrong. In Shastra, we will find certain things called vidhi and nishedha. Vidhi means that which is recommended to be done by Shastra, like certain pujas, certain daily rituals. These things are vidhi, they are supposed to be done. And then there is nishedha, which means forbidden, that which you are not supposed to do. Now, to understand this correctly, we have to know the goal, the purpose. The purpose of Vedanta is moksha, right? So, when Vidhi and Nisheda is given, it has to be looked at from the eyes of moksha, whether this is conducive for my spirituality or not. And that is all that Vidhi and Nisheda is. It is not by itself a criminal offense if you follow or don't follow Nisheda. So, for example, what happens if you overeat junk food?
It will be a potential for future diseases.
Yes, it spoils your health in the future. Now, is it because somebody is punishing you, or is it its own natural consequence of eating unhealthy junk food?
It's the natural consequence.
It's a natural consequence. There is no God who said that, I will punish you because you are eating junk food. Nobody puts you in jail for eating junk food. But we are all aware that if there is overindulgence in junk food or unhealthy eating, then in the future there will be health problems and so many other issues will crop up, right? So we know this from our understanding. When Shastra gives us Vidhi and Nishedha, it is the same understanding. From the viewpoint of Shastra, they are able to tell you what is conducive for my spiritual progress and what is not. And so, based on that, they have given certain recommendations or a list of do's and don'ts. Same with, anything. If you take Olympic players, they have a list of things to eat and a list of things to not eat. If an Olympic athlete eats an ice cream, nobody will put that person in jail. But he knows that it will affect his performance the next day, right? So, in the same way, it is never about right and wrong, it is always about action and consequence. And this is how punyam and papam has to be understood. Now, coming to the question that was posted on the group, the Mananam question. Is suicide a papam? Or why is suicide a papam? So, first of all, is suicide papam?
Shastra
It is
says
subjective again.
It is a papam.
it should not be.
Why?
It is a papam.
Okay, so first of all, most of you agree that it is papam, except some of you who say it is subjective. So, when it comes to what we were discussing on the group, the suicide, as long as the person has taken a deliberate action to end their own life, it is papam. If the person is not aware of their own actions, if the person has some kind of mental illness that does not allow them to take deliberate conscious actions, then we do not call that papam. It is no different from why we say that animals don't generate punyam or papam, because they don't have free will. Same with children up to a particular age do not take conscious actions or conscious decisions, and so they are also not generating punyam and papam. But any person who takes a conscious decision to end their own life, they are generating some karma phalam. Now we say it is papam. Is this because we are condemning the act and we are saying that it is a wrong action, or is there a different understanding to this?
I think it is because the person committing suicide ends his life abruptly without achieving the very purpose of this human life, that is moksha. And so the potential, it's a potential for future painful experiences which he has not gone through in this life.
Yes, very good. That is the understanding. So in this life, we have been allocated certain punyam and papam to experience and to exhaust. If we try to escape it, it will only come back, and on top of that, there will be more. So to give you an example, suppose I have an exam on Monday. Okay, it's a very important exam, let's say, and say it's the final exam for my college, and I have not studied. Now, because I have not studied, already there is some amount of suffering right now. That there is tension, there is stress, there is some guilt, there is a lot of suffering that, okay, exam is on Monday, I have not studied, what do I do? Panic, these things are there. Now, I can still study in the remaining time. I can go to the exam on Monday. I can try. Maybe I may pass, maybe not, but I might still attempt it also. Now, what if somebody totally avoids the exam altogether because they have not studied? It will result in what?
Fail. The person will fail.
Guarantee fail the course, right? If you attempt, at least there's a small chance that maybe, might pass. But if you totally miss the exam altogether, it's a definite fail. Still, let's say that, the college, you can request something. Maybe they give you another chance. They say, come back again, we'll give you another chance after 1 month. Again, if you do the same thing, what happens? If after being given one chance and still you miss the exam the second time, this time, what happens?
If that person is doing it consciously, then it is papam, because he's still avoiding that the consequences at that moment.
Exactly. He is avoiding, and so it generates papam. So he avoids for the second time also, and now definitely nobody is interested in giving him another chance. Definitely now it is guarantee fail, right? Now he has failed not just this one exam, but pretty much the whole course, the whole college course, right? And now he has not even graduated from college. Now the situation is worse or better than, say, today. Today, I just have tension that Monday is the exam, I've not studied, versus sometime in the future when both exams are failed and nobody now even will give me a chance. And not just that, the course is over and I have not graduated or got my degree. So, which do you think is a worse situation?
He has spoiled his future this way. So that this is the worst.
So, the suffering is much greater in the second case, right? After missing both the exams, after postponing and avoiding, he has only multiplied his suffering, this person, right? Do you agree? Do you see it?
Yes.
Now you see there are no job prospects, and also on top of the original suffering of tension and stress, now there is more tension and stress, that how will I get a job, how will I make a living, what will people think of me, all these things, right? The suffering has only multiplied. And why? Because this person chose to avoid that exam, that, particular painful situation. So the point is that avoiding pain will not really relieve you from pain. It has to be faced, it has to be experienced, and you have to grow out of it. That is the idea. And this is why suicide is what postponing or avoiding that pain. And that is why we say it multiplies. So whatever, you know, remaining portion was there that was to be experienced in that life, that plus added papam from the action of suicide. So it only multiplies in the next life. So it comes back. And that is why we say it is a papam. It is not wrong or bad per se, but it is wrong and bad in this sense. Okay, is this clear?
Um, yes, Medhaji. And one question, or I would like to just maybe compare it with an example. Say there's a small child, about 3 years old, and he or she is near a tank full of water. And this child doesn't know that if I enter into this water, I'm going to drown.
Yeah.
So the way that child walks into that water and no adult around is around, and this child drowns and dies. So this is equal. I mean, this is similar to not deliberately committing suicide, right?
Yeah, it is
It
not a
depends
deliberate
on the
act.
mental situation of that person.
Yes. As long as they have taken conscious action, there are many psychiatric diseases where it is not possible for them to be even aware of reality, of what's going on. In those cases, no, because there's no free will involved. In the case of the child, also, there is no free will involved.
Hmm.
There is no
I
free
also have another
in
question.
life. It is just a curiosity to go in that direction. And then what happens next is just a manifestation of the karma for that life.
Hmm. Yeah, that was my other question. Where, say, if the karma is designed in such a way for this person that he or she is going to commit suicide and leave the world, so what happens in that case? What is it in that case?
The karma can be very painful, but suicide is a deliberate conscious step. There
So
is
isn't
no,
that written in a person's destiny?
no. Destiny is not written. We will see this later.
Okay.
When today's discussion will be on that.
Okay, thank you.
What we call destiny is nothing but a play between fate and free will. There is no only fate, nor is it only free will. It is a play between both. So we will see the details of these things. Today's whole class is about the discussion of the law of karma. So before we go to that, there is another thought experiment that I would like to expose you all to. So let us say there is a railway track and a train goes on that track. And just before the train comes, you see that there is a person standing on that track. And next to you, there is a lever. If you pull the lever, the train will go on a different track, which is empty. So there's a person on this track, the other track is empty. If you pull the lever, train will change direction, the person's life will be saved. Now, would you pull the lever?
No,
Why?
actually no, because here I'm trying to save one person's life, and if the train goes into another track, maybe there's another train in the, um, so
For now, it's all
there can
clear.
be so many different.
For now, it's all clear. The other track is totally clear. Would you do it?
Yes,
Yes, if this it is safe to for train to go to other track. Yeah.
because the intent is to save this person's life.
Okay, so you will do it, and most of you agree with this. Now, I will add a complication, and I will say that on the other track, there are 3 people. This side, there is only 1 person. Other side, there are 3 people. Now,
Definitely not. We will not pull the lever.
you will let the train go over the 1 person instead of the 3 people. Why?
Uh, because if it is sure that somebody has to be killed, then lesser the number, better it is.
Okay. Lesser the number, the better. So we have decided that more number of jivas is, more in value than lesser number of jivas.
Yes.
What if
Suppose
that
that one person is your kid.
Yes. Now, what if that one person is your kid? Suppose your daughter is on that track, other side 3 people. Now, what will you do?
We'll
That's it.
scream so, so that
Difficult, huh?
everybody is cautioned and moves away from the track.
No such
It is-
option available.
it is dharam sankat.
Right? So, you think on this some more. And we know last class we were discussing about the mercy killing and all those topics, right? That is also a similar kind of situation. It's a very morally difficult, morally speaking, there is no correct answer. And also each situation is so unique, right? In those situations, you don't know, you can have a patient who is just refusing treatment. As a doctor, are you supposed to impose treatment on a person who is refusing treatment? Now you can have another patient who has taken all the treatment, is in the final stage, and now says, enough, give me something that will finish my life. So are you actively supposed to help that person end their life? In the next scenario, suppose the person is in a coma, unable to, take any decision or speak. They're not even able to tell you if they're in pain or not. In such a situation, will you pull the plug? If yes, how long will you wait? 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, 2 years? How long should you wait? So there are a lot of these morally difficult gray area situations. And no matter what we do, there is some amount of unavoidable papam that happens. In the case of the railway track and the train, even if that person is not your daughter, it is difficult to say that one jiva is equal to, if we go by that argument, that one jiva is, lesser than 3 jivas, then it should be okay
Yes.
to, if that person is your kid also, if the one single person is your own kid also. But then we have, as a parent, we have a duty to protect our children. So does that mean we should sacrifice 3 lives on the other side? It's very difficult, right, to answer these kind of questions. The only thing that we have to remember is that actions have consequences, and what Vedanta teaches us is objectivity, not to be blinded by bias. Right? the answer changes the moment my kid comes into the picture. Why? Because mine, mamakara, right? So constantly we are overtaken by bias. Now, what we will do is that there is a website that keeps asking these kind of questions. So I will share the link with you all later on. And all of you go through one of the, I will send you, there's a particular game or whatever. The website is called Philosophy Experiments. So there's a particular game where they pose these kind of questions, very difficult to make a choice, those kind of situations. And you are asked to make certain choices. Now, what you do is you make those choices and take a photograph of the answer and save it. Or even this railway track answer, you write it down somewhere and you save it. And after 1 year of study of Bhagavad Gita and Tattvabodha, or even maybe 2 years, revisit the question and do the answer again. Okay, so then you see what has changed or has anything changed. Okay, so this is long-term homework for you all. 2-year wala homework. Okay.
Medha ji, on this railway track thing, uh, if we pull, because this one person on the track and the train coming and a lever with us to save the life. So if we pull the lever, that will be, that should be done, because the other 3 people on the other track may be saved by somebody else.
But you have no guarantee of that, no?
No, but at least we have the guarantee of saving this one person by pulling the lever.
But by pulling the lever, you have put 3 other people in harm's way. And there is no guarantee that there's some savior on the other side. Do you
It's quite-
understand? It's very difficult.
Yes.
Okay, so just in the meantime, to help you all out, pray that you never find yourself in such a situation. And also, if such a situation arises, do what has to be done, take the decision, whatever you feel is correct, and then just offer a prayer to the Lord. Okay, so anyway, in the meantime, do the experiment just to see your own understanding of these things. And then 2 years later, or 1 year later, or even 6 months later, do it again and see if the answer has changed and in what way it has changed. Especially after understanding the law of karma, after understanding the operation of the universe, you may find that your answers have changed. Okay, so I will send you that link later on. Lot of such
Medha ji.
situations, and especially in Mahabharata, you will find it is full of such difficult situations, and people are making all kinds of decisions that it's easy to criticize from the outside, but when you're actually in the situation, it's very difficult.
Can I reply to that question? If
Which
you
one?
allow me. Yeah, the other thing we can do, you don't pull any lever. Let the train decide. Let the destiny decide who's to be killed. It has to go either way, because we don't know which way it would turn, right?
No, we know it's going to go straight. Only pulling it changes the track.
Okay, if we know that it's going to kill 3 people, then it's ethical dilemma. Yeah.
Yes.
Then, thank you.
Okay, fine. So food for thought and long-term homework. So now let's move on. So this was Punyam and Papam. Now we'll come back to Tattvabodha and we'll read this. Karmani kati vidhani santiti chet.
Karmani kati vidhani
विधानि
santi
सन्तीति चेत्
Agami sanchita prarabdha bhedena.
Agami
आगामि
sanchita
सञ्चित
prarabdha vedena
प्रारब्धभेदेन
Trividhani santi.
Vividhani
विविधानि
santi.
सन्ति.
So, if you remember, the previous discussion that was happening in the text was that the teacher had said, for the Jivan Mukta, he is free from all karmas. We were discussing what is a Jivan Mukta, and then he had said that because of this knowledge of Aham Brahmasmi, it is powerful enough to free one from all the karmas. So now he himself is answering that if it is asked how many karmas are there, and then he says there are 3 types of karmas and he gives their names. So the meaning is karmani. Karmani is plural of karma. So karmas. Kati vidhani. Kati vidhani means how many types. Vidhani means types. Kati vidhani means how many types. Santi iti chet. This word breaks as santi iti chet. Santi is like is in English. Is. It's a grammar particle. Iti chet. If it is asked that, how many types of karma are there? He says, Trividhani santi. There are 3 types. Trividhani is 3 types. And he has given the names here. He says, Agami, Sanchita, and Prarabdha Bhedena. Bhedena means classified as. There are 3 types and they're named as, classified as Agami, Sanchita, Prarabdha. 3 different types of karma are there. Now let us see what are these 3. So the first type of karma phalam is Sanjita Karma. So whenever we do any action, we discuss that it generates punyam or papam. Punyam and papam together we are calling as Adrishta Phalam. Now what happens to this Adrishta Phalam? It has to be stored somewhere, right? There has to be some record somewhere. So that storehouse where all the different karmas, the Adrishta Phalams are stored, that is called as Sanjita Karma. Now it is not a physical space, but just to give you a visualization, I will say this is the big pot or the big place where all the karmas have been stored, not just from this life, but from all the previous lives. Okay, so it is continuously being stored in this big pot of karma. The word sanchita is broken as sam plus chitta. Sam means properly and chitta means accumulated. If you remember, the memory faculty is also called chitta. It is also because accumulated. Memories are stored and accumulated, right? So it's the similar word. Chitta here also means accumulated. And sanchita means properly accumulated. So it is stored from many, many, many lifetimes, countless number of lives. We have generated karma and that has been stored. So that is Sanchita Karma. Now, in this life, a portion of Sanchita Karma is taken. So if there is a big pot full of karma, you put your hand in and you take out some, how much ever comes in the hand. That small amount, that matured amount, that is called Prarabdha Karma. And that is allocated for this life. Okay, so out of Sanchita Karma, one small portion is taken and given for this life. And that is Prarabdha Karma. And this Prarabdha Karma is what determines my life situation. Everything that has come without my asking for it in this life, all those things are a result of Prarabdha Karma. So, my country of birth, my parents, my lineage, the type of body I have, whether it is a male body, whether it is a female body, whether it is a healthy body, whether it is not a healthy body, all these different things, even whether it is a human body or an animal body, all the different factors in my life that have come without my asking for it in this life, those things are called as Prarabdha Karma. All the situations that present before me in this life, they're all from Prarabdha Karma. Okay? Then there is a third type of karma called Agami Karma. Agami Karma is the karma phalam generated from any action that I'm doing right now. So it is the fresh karma that is born out of free will. So whenever I choose to do certain actions, suppose I choose to eat healthy, the consequence is that probably I will have a healthy body for a longer time. So that is Agami Karma, making a choice, making an action out of a choice, out of deliberate intention and deliberate knowledge. So that is called Agami Karma. Now, this Agami Karma can fructify in this very life itself. So, we all have experience in this life. We have worked for certain things and the result also has come. Suppose I work out to lose weight, then that is an Agami Karma in this life. And what is the result of that? In this life itself, I lose weight, right? So, then some portion of this Agami Karma fructifies as Prarabdha Karma in this very life itself. And there is some portion of Agami Karma that does not fructify at all in this life. It does not get the chance to fructify and it goes and joins this Sanchita heap. Okay, so portion of it is exhausted in this life itself and the remaining will join Sanchita Karma, and now it is known as Sanchita Karma. So for Agami Karma, like I said, deliberate motivation or deliberate intent has to be there. And that is why babies don't have Agami Karma. Agami Karma begins from the time we start taking deliberate actions. So children up to a particular age also don't have, but after one point, they start taking independent decisions. Then Agami Karma starts. And that Agami fructifies as Prarabdha and the remaining portion of it becomes Sanchita. Okay, any questions about this?
Medha again, what did in the case of a child who is mentally disabled, for them, don't they come under this people who don't have free will?
Yes, they don't have free will. It sounds harsh to say this, but from the point of view of karma, it is like equal to an animal's life. Animals also don't have free will. They don't have Agami Karma. They only have Prarabdha Karma. So in this life, they only exhaust karma. Animals. They cannot take deliberate actions. So it is the same with human beings who are incapable of making deliberate actions. So they also only exhaust Prarabdha but do not generate any fresh Agami Karma. So from that point of view, the animal life is equal.
This karma thing is so kind of connected with not just one person but so many other people, right? So if a couple have a child with a child with mental disability, and isn't that it can also be related to the parents karma, so that they have this child, and also it also has the child's karma, and it also has the child's siblings karma. So it's all connected to, it's like a network. I feel
Yes,
that
it is a
we're all
network.
connected.
Yes,
Yeah.
That's right. It is a network, but it is important to remember that the karma does not transfer.
Mm.
Okay, so they are experiencing their own prarabdha.
Own karma, yes.
Their own prarabdha might say that you are supposed to suffer in this life in this particular way. So the parents
Mhm.
also suffer when there is such a child. There are different levels of suffering: physical suffering, mental suffering, emotional suffering. So different levels of suffering are also there, right? So
Mm.
for the parent, it is their own prarabdha karma that is fructifying. For the child's, it is his own prarabdha karma that is fructified. It just so happened that the situation to fructify is like that.
And this equation also may change depending on the kind of Agami Karma the parents are doing, right?
Yes,
It may also affect the child.
yes, absolutely. No, it may not, it will not. The Agami karma generates their own prarabdha
Okay,
karma.
okay. Sorry. Yeah,
For
yeah. Got
the
it, got it.
child, it will just fructify his own prarabdha karma. They are
Okay,
just
that's.
serving as an instrument to bring about his prarabdha karma. That's all.
Mhm. What if a parent makes a prayer for the child? How does, I mean, what kind of karma is working there?
There also it is Agami karma. There will be some
For the
amount of,
parent or for the child?
it will be punyam for the parent,
Mm-hmm.
and there is a possibility that it may help the child. This
Mm,
prayer concept is a little
mm,
tricky. We say
mm,
that the prayer cannot be transferred, no, punyam cannot be transferred, but
mm-hmm.
still, prayer does work. So prayer is
Okay,
the exception.
okay. Thank you.
So, any doubts about Sanchita, Prarabdha, and Agami? Has everyone understood?
Yes.
Okay. So, this Prarabdha karma that is allotted for each life, it is a mixture of papam and punyam. Okay, it is a mixture of papam and punyam, and it presents in different kinds of ways. So when the papam is more and the punyam is less, then a lower birth takes place. Lower birth means either a plant or an animal birth happens. And when the punyam is also too much and the papam is very little, then a higher birth takes place. Higher birth means in the higher lokas. So as one of the devas, the body of one of the celestial beings is said to be taken. And when the punyam and papam is almost of 50-50, almost equal, proportional, then a human birth takes place. And even then, this punyam and papam can present in weird ways. Okay, so for example, when a dog is born, we say that it is more of the papam, right? More of predominantly papam. But still, let us say that dog is born in the White House. Maximum luxury treatment for that dog. It has its own AC room, its own car, its own chef, all these things. Versus a human being who does not have these kind of amenities. Maybe a human being who's even in poverty, struggling for life. So even though that person is supposed to have more punyam, in this life there is more suffering. You might even feel that dog's life is better than mine. But that is the, how it presents, how it fructifies. So this punyam and papam keep presenting in different ways. And we have to remember, as human beings, we have one of the greatest weapons, which is our Agami Karma. We have a choice how to handle that situation, how to react or respond in any given situation. We can always think and make certain decisions and actions, which all of the other beings do not have, including even the higher beings. The celestial beings are also bound by their nature. They are also not given free will. And for them also, they don't have Agami Karma. they have only Prarabdha Karma. They have a very pleasurable life, but still no Agami Karma. Okay?
Mataji, there is one thing which is bothering me in the mind. ये प्रारब्ध कर्मा से related है. For people who don't live a full life of say 70, 80 years, maybe they die at about 25, 30 years of age. That means that they have very little prarabdha karma in this life.
Yes. The body drops when Prarabdha Karma is over. The purpose of the body is to exhaust Prarabdha Karma. And when that Prarabdha Karma is over, in whatever way, the body will drop at whatever age. It is the same even for young children who may die for whatever reason. A very limited Prarabdha.
So Medhaji, when you said that a handful of whatever karma is taken out of Sanjita Karma, so that giving that is Ishvara's job, right? How much
Yes.
prarabdha is going to be picked up?
Yes.
Okay.
Ishvara is the Karma
Yeah.
Phala Data.
Again, that curiosity remains that how this pot is maintained. It's
Which spot?
karma's pot or Sansita Karma.
How it remains means?
How it is maintained. Like there are so many births and it's such a complicated system.
Yes.
That,
And that is why we say Ishvara has such a superior upadhi. Because
okay.
it is Ishvara's upadhi who is maintaining this law of karma. See, it is not just this karma law. You look at any law in the universe, any natural order in the universe. You look at physics, for example.
Mhm.
It is very complicated actually after a point. There's a lot of, we try to understand it using mathematics and equations and all. But when you look at the law of gravity and all the different laws, you look at the human body, the intelligence with which
Yeah.
it is designed. So
Yes.
many things are happening inside the body. Medical science struggles to understand why the body is like this.
Mhm.
They took a very long time to even reach this level of understanding, and still they're discovering more and more things.
Yes.
It is all Ishvara's manifestation and all his cosmic order and design. And that is why we said it appears as though Ishvara has a very superior upadhi.
Thank you.
Glory of Ishvara. It's there in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Vibhakti chapter. Krishna will point out different things and say they are all Ishvara. All the most glorious things in creation, all of that is Ishvara only.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that this is over, we will look at some of the corollaries of the law of karma. And when the law of karma is properly understood and assimilated, it will actually give a great sense of relaxation. Otherwise, we find many discrepancies in the world, right? We have questions about the world. Why is it like this? Why do those things happen? All these various things that we have, it offers a great amount of mental relaxation once we understand that the whole world operates in accordance with the law of karma. So God is not partial, He is not biased, He doesn't hate some people and love some people. It's not like that. The whole world works on action and consequence. Okay, so now let's look at these corollaries. The first is Karta eva bhokta. No one else is to blame for my experiences. So the statement is actually Yaha karta bhavati saha eva karma phala bhokta bhavati. Means the one who does the action, he alone experiences the results of that action. There is nobody else to blame for my experiences. Whatever presents in my life, it is just because of Prarabdha or Agami. And when you look at it, Prarabdha is nothing but previously done Agami, right? Agami from a previous life is now coming as Prarabdha. So it is me who has done the action in some previous life, and now I alone have to experience whatever the consequence of that action is. So, for example, suppose my sister eats a lot. Can I gain weight if my sister eats a lot?
No.
Okay, what if my mother eats a lot? Can I gain weight?
No.
No, but she's
Whoever
my mother, right? So this has to be very clearly understood. If I eat a lot, I will gain weight and nobody else will gain weight. Okay? If I don't eat, I will starve. Nobody else will starve. So this is the main, one of the main takeaways, that karta eva bhokta. The one who does, he alone experiences the results of that action. Okay, and with this, it soothes over a lot of feelings of guilt, lot of misgivings about the past, that what if I did something to someone? So it is not possible to do anything to someone else unless their own prarabdha dictates that. Okay. Is this clear? Any questions about this point?
Netaji, I have a question. So, say 2 years ago, I was supposed to act upon a situation and I didn't.
Yeah.
But the consequence is really bad today.
Hmm.
So, what if I feel guilty that if I had taken action then, this wouldn't have happened?
Yes.
So,
So
is
that brings
that
us,
karta eva
yes,
bhokta or?
that's correct. That brings us actually to our second point, that if my past action is responsible to for my present situation, that means my present action is responsible for my future situation. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so with regard to your question, there is no use feeling guilty about the past. Feeling guilty, does it benefit anyone in any way?
But we do feel, right?
We do, but logically speaking, is there any
Mhm.
benefit out of feeling guilty? Does it help you in any way?
No.
So the only thing that we have to do about the past is to learn from it and
Mm.
implement the correct actions in today's life.
Mm.
So present, that's what is written here. Present action is responsible for future experience. So take responsibility. So something that I was supposed to do 2 years ago, which I didn't, there's no use feeling guilty about it now. Not only will it not help me in any physical way, it will also reduce my capability. Feeling guilty and, disturb any kind of disturbing mental thoughts only reduce my capacity to do something today, right? Does it help in any way? It doesn't help. Not only that, it actually hinders also. So, guilt is a totally useless emotion. Unfortunately, it's there, but we have to understand that it doesn't help us in any way. All these guilt, regret, remorse.
Yeah, this happens a lot in this country, our country especially, I think, when it comes to parents, children, friends, relatives.
Yes. The only thing we can do is to learn from the past and then take proper actions now. And this is very important. We never accept this theory of karma as a fatalistic theory. Fatalistic means, oh, this is my karma, I have to experience it, I have to lay down and accept whatever comes. No. This theory of karma is the only remedy for fatalism because it gives you the very important tool of agami, free will. I am able to take proper actions here and now and change the course of my future. So, this is the answer to the destiny question also. Do we operate mere only on destiny? No. we operate on free will and fate. There will be some prarabdha that will come as a situation in my life, and I have to take some responsible action, well thought out action. And this is why it is always important to keep a clear head, to keep a cool, state of mind. In the heat of emotions, I am more likely to take decisions that will come back in a way I don't want to, right? This is why we say that it is very important to keep the mind tranquil all the time so that I am able to take correct, proper decisions as the situation demands. If I take if I take decisions out of emotion, then they are likely to go wrong. Most emotional decisions are likely to go wrong in the future. So this is a second takeaway, that I am responsible for my own future. Just like how the past action has got this present situation before me, whatever my present action, it will bring some future situation, and I can change that the way I want it to be. Okay, so we have to take responsibility and accountability for our own actions right now, and even for my own situation also right now. It didn't come from somewhere random, it has come from my own past actions. All right, is this clear?
Yes.
Right. The next one says, problem is not with God or the world, but with my own wrong equation. Generally, what we try to do is that we equate today's karta with today's bhokta. But that is not the correct equation. It is like saying, today I dieted and exercised, but I didn't lose weight. So today's karta dieted and did some exercise, but today's bhokta didn't lose any weight. Is this a correct equation?
No.
No.
Today's actions will bear fruit in future.
Yes, will bear fruit in future. That means today's bhokta is experiencing the fruit of the past karta, right? So the past karta has to be equated with the present bhokta. You can never equate today's karta with today's bhokta, because the equation will never make sense. But unfortunately, this is what we do. And this is why we get questions like, why do good things happen to bad people? Or why do bad things happen to good people? We all know somebody who is very nice, very sweet people, but a lot of tragedy in their life, right? And we wonder, why is God so unfair? Why does he punish these people? They're actually so nice. These kind of thoughts come, right? And this is the answer for that, that there is no issue with God. It's not like God hates people or loves people. Okay, it's easier to think of God as an impartial supercomputer. He takes the input and he gives the output. And nor is the problem with the world. The world is not the cause of my suffering. But I have to understand the correct equation. If I am suffering today, it is because of my own previously done wrong actions. Some past action that I have done is now presenting itself to me in the form of Prarabdha Karma. Okay, is this clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so it is always important to understand that the present bhokta has to be equated with the remote karta, a past karta. Okay, next one, availability of prayashchitta karma. Now, like I said, it is very difficult for us to know what the future holds. right? We don't know what prarabdha is waiting for me. I don't know what is waiting. And it is not easy also to know. There are some ways given by Shastra to know. One of them is horoscope. Horoscope can help us identify what prarabdha is there. Now remember that the planets themselves don't cause the prarabdha. Okay, so no point blaming the planets. They are just rotating on their own. But their positions can help me understand what is my prarabdha. If, one is so inclined. It's not a necessary thing. Okay, so planets merely indicate, they are not the cause. Just like how the watch indicates time, but it does not cause the movement of the sun. Watch is an indicator, not a cause. Same way, planets are an indicator of prarabdha, but not the cause. What is the cause? My own actions. My own previous actions are the cause. So it can be known, and there can be prayashchita karma. Prayashchita means some remedial action that can be available. It may not fully counteract the situation. It's like saying, does medicine cure all diseases? No, some diseases are fully cured by medicine, some are only managed, like diabetes and all. It is not a cure, it is just a management of the disease. And there are some diseases that have no cure at all. And whatever medicine is given is only to make the pain a little better, just to alleviate the pain. Right? So, in the same way, prayashchita need not take care of all kinds of prarabdha. In some cases, it will fully take care. In some cases, just as a management. And in some cases, it does not work at all. It depends on how strong that prarabdha is and also what is that prayashchita karma. Now, prayer works as a prayashchita karma. It is a general all-purpose prayashchita. And then there are also very specific ones. So this is what happens when we go to astrologers or the people who read the horoscope. They will see and then they will say you do this homa or this kind of puja and it will work. So that is a very specific solution, whereas prayer is an all-purpose solution. It doesn't mean that the prarabdha will go away. It is like if the weather has predicted rain, now you are just equipping yourself with an umbrella. Doesn't mean rain will go away. It is just that you now have a little more protection. So this is prayashchita karma. That's not to say that also that horoscope should be fully, followed. Sometimes it is better to not know. Whatever we know itself, we are unable to handle. So there is no point in knowing more and more and becoming more and more difficult for us to handle. But the prayashchita karma is available.
Medha ji, could you break down the word prayashchita?
Prayashchita. I don't know the breakup of this word. I'll check if I find it.
Sure, thank you.
Right. So, any other questions? There is still little more to discuss on this karma, but we'll do that in the next class.
Medhaji, what defines which prarabdha is going to be?
That is karma phaladata, Ishvara's anugraha.
So he decides like which is your next prarabdha that you will be facing.
Yes.
So sometimes suppose you have a disease and there is a pain that you are going through, and then you have a medicine to reduce the pain. Does that reduce your suffering, or are you pushing your suffering?
No, you you are experiencing the suffering, but you also have the resources to help you handle that particular bad situation, right?
Mm-hmm. So,
So,
like your agami is there, which helps you, which gives you, which you can reduce your pain.
yes.
It's not that you are pushing your suffering or delaying your suffering.
No, it is a manifestation of both punyam and papam. See, the only way, whatever we do, we will experience both punyam and papam. And whatever action we take will only generate further punyam. And whatever we do, we will keep coming back to this cycle. The only escape is moksha. The only way to break out of the cycle is through moksha.
Yeah, that's right. Because with this karma, you can't, there is no end to it.
There is no end. There's no beginning also, but there's no end to it, definitely. Whatever we do, it will keep snowballing. It's very
Yeah.
difficult to track. Am I generating punyam? Am I generating papam? How long will
Mm-hmm.
you keep tracking, right?
That's right.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I just remembered that mercy killing example we were talking. There were a couple of other points I wanted to make. One is, it's a unique situation, definitely. And is it really one question you can think about when you are doing your homework? Is it really the doctor's duty that he must end pain? Is the doctor's primary duty to protect health and life? Or is the doctor's primary duty to put an end to suffering? One more angle to look at this whole thing. Another one is, can you really help that person escape pain? Now that after having studied all this, do you think by ending the person's life early or helping them with that, do you think they have escaped the pain permanently? Or do you think suffering is bound to happen again in some other life based on what we studied today?
Suffering will happen in some other life because our karmas, so in this birth or in the next birth, they will have to be fructified.
Suffering can never be avoided. As long as life happens, suffering happens. Not just for us, but for every creature. Doesn't mean that we become totally hardened and, we say let them suffer. We have to be compassionate. But at the same time, we have to understand that it cannot be avoided.
Medha ji, there is another question.
Yeah.
This is related to the karma phal data. When we say this term karma phal data, are we referring to the nirguna Ishvara or the saguna Ishvara?
The Nirguna Ishvara is Brahman only, right?
Yes.
Brahman with Avyakta Maya. So it has to be with Saguna Ishvara.
Yes, because that is where the upadhis are different. Otherwise,
Yes. Only at the Vyavaharika level, all this karma and can, the play of karma can take place. If it is totally unmanifest, or if we are talking about Shuddha Chaitanyam, there's no scope for this.
Medha ji, one more thing. You can't achieve moksha till you have exhausted your Sanjita Karma.
No, that is not the case. You achieve moksha when there is full and proper understanding of Aham Brahmasmi, and basically upon the completion of Shravanam, Mananam and Nididhyasanam, and Sanjita can never be exhausted. No matter how many lifetimes you go through, Sanjita cannot be exhausted. And so that is why we never say that exhausting karma is the route to moksha. We say Jnanam is the route to moksha because Jnanam will help us break the bond of all the karmas.
Thank
The
you.
example is like waking up from a dream. Suppose in the dream, you have made a lot of money. Suddenly you have become very rich in the dream. When you wake up, will that karma, can it reach you in the waking state?
No.
Or even if some criminal activity was done, in the dream, there's about to be punishment, but then you wake up. Can
Because
that
that was a
punishment
subjective
reach you?
reality. That was subjective. It
Yes.
was-
So it is a different order of reality. So at Dhyanam, your identification is no longer in the Vyavaharika plane. It is, you are now identified as Brahman. And in different order of reality, the karma of the Vyavaharika state cannot affect you.
Mm.
So what happens to that dream karma? You know, is it there or does it vanish or does it go? Something else to think about.
It was never there.
Okay. Does it totally vanish? It was never there, yes. Why was it never there?
Because it was a subjective reality, or true only to your own self.
Because it is mithya.
Because not a conscious decision.
No, because it is
In
mithya.
dream state,
In dream
okay.
state, whatever karma happens, it is mithya or satyam?
It is mithya.
Mithya.
It
So
is
does the mithya
dependent
thing
on the, yeah.
really, is it there?
No, it's not there.
It's not
It's there, the thoughts.
Anyway, all this is for you to do more mananam on. You will have more and more clarity as you progress through Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so we'll stop here and maybe next class we should be able to complete the whole text. So even if next class it takes another 15 minutes, it might take, so just be prepared. So we will finish everything in the next class, okay? Let's end with the prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate
पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते
Om
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Hari Om
हरि ओम्
Namaha Hari
गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ओम्
Thank you so much, Medha ji.
Thank
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Medha ji.
Thank you, Medha
Thank
ji.
you very much.